are go for launch. The countdown now turned over to the control of the launch vehicle test conductor for the last 4 minutes of the count. We will go on an automatic sequence starting at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Final communications check now in progress between the spacecraft test conductor and the crew aboard the spacecraft. Some final checks in progress at this time. We have the report that we are clear for firing command. That is the automatic sequencer that should come in about 15 seconds. From that time on down, all aspects of the mission will be automatic, monitored by the computers here in the control center and at the pad. 310, we have firing command. Launch sequence starts. The computer is in. The sequence is in at this time. Mark, T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. Our preparations now complete. Already lights are on here in the control center. During this period, the various propellant tanks aboard the 3 stages of the Saturn V will be pressurizing. Primarily, we use helium on the ground to pressurize these tanks. The various vent valves will close as the countdown proceeds. We've now passed 2 minutes, 35 seconds, and counting. All still going well.
5.5 million parts in this enormous Saturn V rocket, which means that even if it works 99% perfectly, there are something like 5,500 things which can go wrong with it.
Engines in the first stage of the Saturn V, the ignition sequence to start at the 8.9 second mark in the countdown. We're now coming up on the 2-minute mark. Mark, T-minus 2 minutes and counting. T-minus 2, all aspects of the mission still go at this time. The Apollo 9 crew standing by in the spacecraft. 1 minute, 50 seconds and counting. Once the ignition sequence does begin with the 5 engines, it'll take some 9 seconds or so to build up the proper thrust. The computers will automatically sample those engines and assure ourselves that we have 95% of the thrust. We will get a commit at that time, and the 4 hold-on arms will come back. We're now 90 seconds and counting. 90 seconds and counting. Vice President Agnew now has come up to the window here in the Launch Control Center along with members of the party to view the launch. 1 minute, 20 seconds and counting. All indications are we will still go at this time. Third stage propellant tanks have been pressurized. Final check of several panels by lunar module pilot Rusty Schweickart. Second stage tanks now pressurized. Schweickart confirmed that he has the proper readings. 1 minute and counting. T-minus 55 seconds and counting, all still going well. We're coming up on the power transfer. Mark, 50 seconds and counting. We're now on internal power with the 3 stages and instrument units of the Saturn V. All propellant tanks in the second stage now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. The vehicle now completely pressurized. The vents closed. We are go. 30 seconds and counting. T-minus 25 seconds and counting. All aspects still go at this time as the computer monitors. 20 seconds. Guidance release 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Seconds after liftoff, Apollo already traveling at 280 miles an hour. Burning fuel at the rate of 15 tons a second. Already out of sight to our eyes here at Cape Kennedy as it bores through the overcast high above the Cape. They've passed now one of the most dangerous periods of the launch phase, the period of maximum vibration for the astronauts themselves. They're already traveling at over 1,800 miles an hour, about 35 miles down the range. That's the period known as max Q, and coming up now to 2 minutes and 14 seconds into the flight where the center engine is due to cut off.
Plus 2 minutes, 15 seconds and go. Inboard's out.
Well, I believe you're now watching a simulated profile of the flight as we lost these pictures from the Cape, of course, of the overcast earlier than we normally do on these launches. But coming up now to the committal stage for first stage separation of the rocket, in which time it'll be about 32 miles high, 50 miles downrange, and now it's traveling at 6,000 miles an hour.
Well, what a fantastically tense moment that is, waiting for that marvellous launch.
You can't see anything because there's smoke and flame everywhere. You know?
Spacecraft is. And since it's the computer that flies the spacecraft through the most delicate and dangerous parts of the mission, there is a chance that Mission Control at Houston may order the spacecraft back down to Earth. At this moment, they've been given a go, as they say, for 6 orbits until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, any time between now and 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, the decision to bring them down may be given. And if they have to come down, they have to come down without the computer. And that means controlling the spacecraft manually through perhaps the most dangerous single part of the mission. So, at the moment, NASA are waiting. They're not telling us what the decisions are until they check the computer. Later on news headlines at 7:29, the next news on this mission in trouble.
Moon landing. 2 hours later, astronauts McDivitt, Scott and Schweickart reported trouble with their computer. There was a possibility that they might be ordered back to Earth, but the latest news is that they've gone ahead with the first of the maneuvers, which make their 10-day flight, in the words of a space agency official, the most complex, difficult and dangerous ever attempted by the United States. For the first time, the astronauts will be testing in orbit the lunar excursion module, the vehicle in which it's planned to land on the moon in July. Despite the computer trouble, the crew were able to carry out the docking maneuvers scheduled for this evening only a few minutes later than planned. And throughout, they maintain constant links with the Houston Control Center.
This Apollo Control crew is very busy at this time preparing for separation.
And this is Houston.
Roger, it's out there, and we're turned around and proceeding with the station keeping and docking.
Oh, tremendous, Paul Man. Thank you.
Man in service module has separated from the third stage, has turned around, and is now station keeping.
The lunar module will be prepared for independent flight during the 3rd and 4th days. 2 of the 3 astronauts will then transfer to it. The other will stay in charge of the main spacecraft. The flight was delayed for 3 days because the astronauts had colds and sore throats, but today they were completely fit. They had a good night's sleep, were woken shortly before dawn, and then had a full breakfast. Before blastoff, the crew went through over 5 hours of final checks and last-minute preparation. Unlike previous Apollo missions, in which at least one astronaut has always been awake, the crew will sleep simultaneously during rest periods, leaving the spacecraft to guide itself. And then final countdown and blast off.
We have ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Everything had gone perfectly so far, and as the spaceship headed into the clouds above Cape Kennedy, Mission Control radioed to the astronauts, everything looks good. Half a mile above the launch pad, the Saturn rocket disappeared into the clouds, lost to sight from the ground much earlier than in some previous flights. But then television cameras mounted aboard aircraft picked it up again. The second stage ignition went off to plan, and Russell Schweickart, making his first spaceflight, said, "It looks beautiful." The command and service module separated from the third stage rocket just over 2.5 hours from liftoff, then a 180-degree turn. And back to the rocket to withdraw from its nose the 16 fragile tons of the lunar excursion module. This maneuver should be completed very soon now. With the command and lunar modules locked together, the plan is for two of the astronauts, McDivitt and Schweickart, to go through the docking tunnel into the mooncraft itself. Schweickart will also rehearse a space walk between the two craft, just to make sure that they can get back to the command module if anything goes wrong with the docking procedure. And then on Friday, if all goes well with the computer and everything else, the lunar module will separate with two men inside. And for the first time, they'll be in a vehicle which cannot itself return to Earth. Then the link-up and the astronauts return to the command module to complete the rest of mission Apollo 9.
Well, we've heard, since this program went on the air, I've heard from Houston that the guidance officer is saying that the computer aboard the craft is go. He is continuing to monitor it, but he says there is no problem there, and it is, as far as he's concerned, go. Well, this does make it rather difficult to assess whether the Apollo 9 is in any serious difficulties, but certainly at the Flight Control Center they're playing it very cool, though I get the impression that they're giving us slightly less information than they have on previous occasions. Certainly the fact that they were several minutes late performing their docking operation is not of any great moment in a 10-day flight. But the worry has been about the voice communications and this worry about the computer. The importance of the computer, you see, is that when the lunar module gets away from the spacecraft, they have to use the computer to calculate the flight plans for it to come back and deliver the astronauts back into the safety of the command module, which is the only part that can get safely back to Earth. It has a heat shield for the re-entry. It is possible that the Americans are playing this by having the pilots, the spacemen rather, acting as actual pilots, rather like aircraft pilots, and hoping that they needn't rely too much on the computer. But certainly, if this mission is to be cut short, it'll put the actual landing on the moon a lot further back.
And at 23 hours and 17 minutes into the mission on Apollo 9, they're on orbit 15, just about here in the South Pacific. They've just left the tracking station, the control of the tracking station near Canberra that goes by the rather untechnological name of Honeysuckle Creek. Well, about an hour ago, they carried out a very important main engine burn. That's the big engine on the back end of the mother spacecraft, and they did that quite deliberately in order to use up a great deal of the fuel in the mother spacecraft so that when they get into the critical maneuvers tomorrow, it will be fairly light. They will have got rid of a lot of their fuel so that those final small maneuvers will be much easier to do with a lighter spacecraft. At 205 miles up at the moment, unlike the clear communications that you remember we had with Apollo 8 all the way to the moon and back, Apollo 9 has had slight communication problems, and just before the firing of that main engine they had one. We thought you might like to hear what it sounded like.
1645.
The comm on that was extremely bad. I only got about 3 lines of the whole bloomin' smear. Let's stand by one. I think we're going to hand off here, and maybe we can try it again.
5 seconds. Apogee is going up. Apparently the burn did go off on time and is still underway. We're some 45 seconds into the burn. No conversation from the crew. They're quite busy at this time, and we'll probably read back their residuals.
It's worth remembering, I think perhaps sometimes all of us get a little bit blasé about all this casual communication between Earth and space, that in fact, during the approximately 55 seconds of that tape you heard, Apollo 9 covered no less than 250 miles, so they're going along at quite a rate up there. 2 more important firings later on today to deplete the fuel a little bit more, and then they go on ready for tomorrow and the vital test maneuvers of the lunar module, without which Apollo 9, as we've said many times, will be an unsuccessful mission, without which they will not be able to go on to Apollo 10 and 11 to reach and land on the moon.
A moon landing vehicle. The mission commander, James McDivitt, and Russell Schweickart crawled through the 32-inch wide connecting tunnel and are now busily engaged on 9 hours of tests.
Okay, the blizzard is gone and you're back real sharp now. We've got good detail. And Spider, like I say, we're getting a good picture. We're getting no voice at all.
Their short television transmission provided clear pictures, but there was trouble with the sound. Schweickart, on the left of the picture, had told doctors he'd suffered from vomiting, but was now better. Although McDivitt appeared busy experimenting with camera settings, Schweickart didn't look too happy and hardly moved during the 7-minute transmission. Both astronauts had just gone through a bad patch. They'd had a much more strenuous time than expected, getting themselves through into the landing vehicle. And once inside, Schweickart had struggled into his 180-pound lunar backpack. Not an easy task in the tiny landing module.
And I am reading you loud and clear now, and the TV picture has been real good. Okay, we're going to have the LRT doctor to the press now. Okay, how do you read now?
In about an hour's time, McDivitt will carry out the next vital test, firing the landing craft's rocket engine. This should prove its ability to lower the lunar craft gently onto the moon later this year.
Hi, Mr. Baxter. I hear you quite well.
Good. How are things going?
Well, they're going splendidly.
How did the burn go, which happened just after we started this program?
Of course, that is the biggest item of our interest, and perhaps, without a doubt, the biggest accomplishment of this flight to date. We lighted the descent propulsion system on the LEM and burned it some 6 minutes entirely successfully.
So this is very encouraging for the program tomorrow.
That really is. It's one of the big landmarks of the flight that we wanted to accomplish. Now, the crew shortly will return to the command module and they'll perform another service propulsion system burn, light the engine, the pusher engine, which rides behind the command module for the 5th time. And then they'll begin a long, peaceful 10-hour rest period.
Well, you say long and peaceable. I gather that Schweickart could have done with a bit of peace during the day. Is he better now?
Earlier this morning, Rusty had a little nausea after he got up. He slept very soundly, and he consistently has been the soundest and the longest sleeper. He got 7 hours both nights, which is almost unheard of, to sleep so soundly on your first night in space.
Well, I should think almost anywhere. But you were a bit concerned for him this morning, were you not?
Yes, he woke up, and I don't know just when it happened, sometime between 2:30 and 7:30 a.m., I would guess, about halfway along. Probably after breakfast, he got to be feeling a bit nauseous, and he vomited at least once.
He had to work physically quite hard at one stage this afternoon. Do you think that may have been the cause of this nausea or not?
No, I don't know really what you mean there, and the nausea was in the morning.
Before they had this problem with the hatch during the afternoon?
The only work they had to put in was to crawl through the little tunnel, a 32-inch tunnel, into the lunar module.
Did that not prove a bit harder than they had anticipated?
No, I have I think that went along quite well.
Okay. And you think that Schweickart will be fit to do his spacewalk tomorrow?
We're certainly hoping so. It's
continues to be scheduled, of course. There apparently is in Rusty a slight tendency toward this kind of trouble. You know, some people seem to have more of it than others.
Mr. Haney, we all hope very much that he will recover and that all will continue to go just as well. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, thank you for your good wishes.
Thank you.
And there they are, from inside the lunar module.
This is Houston. We do have a TV picture. We are receiving no voice.
I understand you're receiving no voice.
Oh, you're coming through loud and clear, Rusty.
Oh, crazy, you're reading voice now. Okay, we're in the process of recharging the bliss. We recharge it with oxygen, and we've just put in the water, and we're going to vent now.
All right, your picture is good. We can see you loud and clear. Going down the checklist there like a good pilot.
Right.
And there, unexpectedly, it looks like they're using a fixed camera again, a camera fixed on the wall, because you can see both pilots there, both lunar modules.
And, Spider, this is Houston. Do we still have you in voice here?
Sure do. We're just kind of busy here. That's why we're not talking.
Okay, understand.
What we're doing is we're filling up, we're recharging the bliss, and I'm eating my lunch. Yeah, the commander's talking while he's eating. He's not supposed to do that.
They have their spacesuits on, regardless of them to sort of dungaree too.
Well, that was just for the crossing. They haven't got any help.
Okay, Houston, that's done.
Oh, very good. Hey, it's a tremendous picture, Spider.
Great. How much longer do we have our tremendous picture? 10 more minutes?
Yeah, we've got it for about another 13 minutes, Spider. We can watch your whole lunch there, count your bites.
Thanks.
Well, we can actually see
You're welcome.
We can actually see him with a beard on.
And, Spider, will you read me back over Redstone in Hawaii?
I read you the first time, but that was only one time.
Okay, understand.
I've got you just barely.
I can see them eating their way out of the plastic bags, passing one another food. Looks quite a big compartment, that, really. If this is
Houston, Spider. Go ahead, Spider.
Roger. We wondered, going over the stateside there on the EVA, did you read us all the way? We noticed that you didn't say anything even when we asked questions.
We were reading everything, all of you, loud and clear, and we just weren't getting up to you, but the comm from you was terrific. We read all your conversations, sound like you were really having a ball.
Yeah, it's a pretty good view from out there. That's what you call a view from the top of the stairs. LEM stairs, that is. Have you got any words of wisdom on tomorrow's flight plan yet, Smokey?
Raj, we'll cover that with you later if you want. We'll settle down. And if you got anything that you can give us along the line about clearing the tunnel, it sounds like that goes pretty well.
Yeah, the tunnel doesn't take long at all. It's getting ready to clear the tunnel.
Hello, he's off the air. What's he done?
Okay, and
No, it's okay.
hey, Red Rover, how about a big smile for the folks at home here, and let us know that you're feeling pretty good after that show.
Yeah, we're feeling great, as a matter of fact. McDivitt doesn't look so good, but he feels all right.
Well, that was the typical friendly CDR smile.
Right. They don't like it because I've got a better beard than they do. Straight teeth, but a crooked smile.
Well, I don't like you because you got a better view than I do.
That's okay, we just don't like you.
And with those pictures of two men in the lunar module obviously enjoying themselves, that's it until tomorrow, the most critical day in the entire Apollo 9 mission when they test the lunar module away from the mother spacecraft.
Here's the NASA sound.
Roger, I'll have you in sight of me. No contact with the command module. Hello, Roger, to Apollo 9.
30 seconds to splashdown. And absolutely bang on target.
Give me your status, please. We're outside. We're all good. All right, I understand the crew is in good shape. Is that true?
We'll catch a glimpse of the helicopters. There they are. There's one just going around the back of the three chutes.
Check your propellant. Dump, stand by.
Splash, that's it, and it's down, and it is absolutely bang on time, and there are the helicopters right the way around it. The chutes fall into the Atlantic, and now we just have to wait that period of time before they get out. Colonels McDivitt, Scott, and Mr. Schweickart. Absolutely perfect landing as they come down in the Atlantic, a matter of a mile or so away. It can't be more than a mile or so away from the USS Guadalcanal, where these live pictures are coming to you now from the Atlantic. We'll just listen to the sound now, because at this moment in time that capsule is bobbing about a bit, and they're no doubt thinking about how quickly they're going to get out of it.
They must be certainly trying to go for the record on pickup, because that helicopter we just saw was right above the capsule. It can't be very long until they get that net down and start picking them up.
This is Apollo Control. Splashdown time. 53 seconds past the hour, which is some 10 seconds later than the predicted splash time of 43 seconds past the hour. The estimated range from the carrier to the spacecraft is some 3 nautical miles. However, this does not mean necessarily that the spacecraft was 3 miles off the target point, as the carrier Guadalcanal was steaming toward the target point from the south.
I must apologize for misinformation of a mile and a half in 10 seconds.
It looks to me
Recovery
as
3 is going to drop a flare at the spacecraft.
As one can see, not very much of a sea running there.
Cigars are beginning to sprout out of everyone's mouth here in Mission Control.
Mission Control is in Houston, in Texas.
The apex cover and the drogue parachutes are reported near the spacecraft. Considerable amount of jubilation here in Mission Control.
There are the two helicopters. One of these is the with the photographic equipment.
And the other one, I'd guess, is going to drop out a couple of frogmen in order to put on that inflatable collar that keeps the thing upright in this slight swirl you can see.
It was down at 18.
Standing by here
and
for
53
word
seconds.
of swimmers in the water.
Meanwhile, the Guadalcanal, the USS Guadalcanal.
Swimmers are now being deployed from Recovery 3 helicopter.
It looks like the one on the left.
4 miles dead ahead estimate from the Guadalcanal.
It's gone up a mile.
The Recovery 3 helicopter is piloted by Commander George M. Rankin, Jr. of Bethesda.
Well, we hope so. There's the first out.
First one ought to be Dave Scott because he's lying on the central couch. And the others can't get out until he moves. So I would guess that was Dave Scott, the command module pilot, the one who's been flying the capsule most of the time.
There he is. There's one out.
He certainly doesn't look very steady.
Have you ever tried to bump from one rubber dinghy to another, James Burke?
All right.
I think it'll be Rusty Schweickart next out.
It's very much a last man to leave the ship being the captain, the commander of the whole mission, McDivitt.
McDivitt, Schweickart, and Scott presently egressing the spacecraft into their raft.
Egressing in American space jargon simply means getting out.
Getting out.
And look at the frogmen diving in there.
Not the one the crewmen are in, but one of the empty ones flips over on top.
Well, I think that's being flipped over, really, by the downwash of the helicopter.
It looked as if Rusty Schweickart had a hand in it, too.
To flip over.
One to go. 2 out. That is Rusty Schweickart that's out now. The occasional bursts of laughter, apart from those coming from here and relief, are also coming from Houston Control, NASA Control in Houston. They're the people who are laughing because they're seeing exactly the same pictures you're seeing. Now, 1 to go. They could almost paddle across the Guadalcanal, one thinks, having seen these pictures.
Now that the crew is out of the spacecraft, the communications through the air boss will cease. We'll continue to give reports from
Here's the third one. They're not all like this.
Guadalcanal.
There's the
crew was brought on
there's
to
the captain of the ship.
And later the spacecraft.
At the moment, it looks very much as if they're wearing these sort of long john coveralls, as they call them, which means that back in the spacecraft they've left their pressure suits, which were used by McDivitt and Scott only in the event of an emergency and during the tunnel crawl, and of course by Rusty Schweickart when he stood outside over Texas and Florida 3 or 4 days ago for that 1 hour brief bit of extra vehicular activity, which in space jargon means just going outside. They will have left those. They will have left this whole pile of standby oxygen equipment, backpacks and strap-on canisters that they use in the event of an emergency, and the gloves, and that's about it. So they seem to be down to the minimum. The other day when they were told about the weather, Jim McDivitt said, let's have somebody bring along some fuzzy knickers. And now I see why. They're not really wearing very much at all.
to full public gaze, which well, I said just now that I should have thought that they could have almost paddled there. It seemed to me not a very profitable exercise to actually pick them up from one of the helicopters, put the harness around them and lift them up in the helicopter just to dump them back on. The Guadalcanal, I've just this second been told, is only 100 yards away.
Can't see them using the helicopters.
No, I can't see them using the helicopters. I think they'll tell the helicopters to get out of it.
That will be, I think, the first time astronauts will not come aboard from the air, but up the steps.
I think it
Still
will.
standing by here for crew pickup and subsequently the pickup of Apollo 9 command module.
One thing that they won't be able to do this time, which one of them did last time, was have a shave in the helicopter on the way back. You remember that?
Yes, it looks, as quick glimpse we had just then, looks as if Jim McDivitt's got quite a beard on.
Well, it's 10 days going, 10 days growth. Now the hatch is closed.
Here presently, this is Apollo control.
Bring up the cake on deck. I suppose they won't. It's too solemn a moment. But one of the things that we've heard while we've been listening out to their conversations for the last 3 or 4 days, after the hard stuff with the lunar module was over, was this continued reference on the part of Rusty Schweickart to the fact that he wanted to make sure that when they did land, wherever it was, the 350-pound congratulatory cake would be air freighted to whatever ship would pick them up. At one point he said if it wasn't on that boat he wouldn't come down.
Well, cake or no cake, here he is at the last moments before they come down on the USS Guadalcanal. This is a helicopter. It's made for landing helicopters on. A kind of floating helicopter pad. And here they come now. Helicopter pilot taken for a ride around.
Almost every time we've seen them coming out of that helicopter onto the deck, there's been a stumble. What's your comment on that, Wing Commander?
This, I think, is understandable if you've been cooped up for 10 days and you're taking your first step onto an unstable object. I think probably going up and down stairs is one of the more difficult exercises at this phase. You said earlier on that you thought they might climb the companionway up to the helicopter, up to the carrier.
I was wrong.
And I think the reason for this probably was that they didn't want to risk them on a flight of steps so soon afterwards.
That is quite a complex manoeuvre by the human body, even in good terms.
Yeah. I remember seeing Alec Rose when he got off Lively Lady, and he stumbled just once on that long, steady walk, and that was, in fact, when he started to go up some stairs. Yes. That was the very first time he stumbled. And now we're only a matter of feet away from the deck of the Guadalcanal. There we are, a rather pink-faced pilot, I think, of that helicopter. Let's say he's red-faced. I can't even see it on the colour set behind me whether he's red or pink, but I expect he is. And there he is, just feet away. Inside that helicopter, James McDivitt, David Scott, Rusty Schweickart, on the end of this 10-day Apollo 9 mission. They've gone 152 orbits. And now, direct from the Guadalcanal. These pictures are coming to you now as the steps go up, and in a moment we shall see the steps go into the side there and they'll step off.
Wonder if they're going to give them the red carpet again.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any red carpet down there. There'll no doubt be a very red carpet welcome. Rear Admiral Philip McManus is the Navy Deputy of the Defence, and he's the manager for the manned spaceflight support operations. I don't know whether he's on board the Guadalcanal or whether he's watching.
a three-color patch for Apollo 9 has been projected on the screen, and it brought a rousing cheer from everyone in the control room here. There must be a...
There's the red carpet.
Candy cane, which is the code name for the Guadalcanal. It's been rolled up to the doorway, and we have the traditional red carpet.
Can I interrupt here and just say that the voices that you'll probably hear from now on are those of the American Pool Network commentators. There are two reporters aboard, Murray Fromson and Ron Nesson. I think this is Ron Nesson that's speaking now.
The NASA team leader is the man at the doorway now, going into the helicopter to shake hands with all of the astronauts. And here's Colonel McDivitt, first man out. Schweickart and Scott near them. Ben James, the NASA Public Affairs Officer, at the foot of the stairway. Astronauts are coming out now and chatting with James. They look pretty well.